Hello and welcome. I am Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations. And I am here reviewing episodes 11 and 12 of the Orville, called New Dimensions and Mad Idolatry. And these are the last two episodes of the season. And I'm joined here today with Pop Culture Curator. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here. I'm excited. And hello to everybody in the chat. I think you're really going to enjoy it. These are two really good, strong episodes.
Oh, yes, I really do love these episodes. So much fun. And every week I review two of these Orville episodes on Tuesday at noon. And by the time we're done reviewing seasons one and two, we will have the first episode of the Orville season three on Hulu on June 2nd. And I'm reviewing the Orville because, we don't know if we're going to get a season four. So I feel like I can help just a little bit by, sharing a little bit of love for the Orville. So maybe
Absolutely.
Hulu sees it and thinks, hey, we got some fans, so let's make a season four. And I know there are a lot,
Absolutely.
right? And so hopefully that helps. And I leave out a lot of the really great jokes. So unless they're important to the plot or have a basis in science fiction, I'll leave them out. So I really encourage what's better than my reviews are going out to watch these episodes. So we're going to start with New Dimensions. And
Okay.
this episode first aired on November 30th, 2017, was written by Seth MacFarlane and directed by Kelly Cronin. And and oh yeah, so here we're at a space station, and and here we see what happens to Chief Engineer Newton. Um, Everyone's at this little party here having food, and we see that Chief Engineer Newton has taken a promotion. He's going to design a new space station. So, yeah. So we finally figure out what happens to Chief Newton. So that's where he ends up going here
Yes.
at the end of the season. And also here, we see Gordon and John are pulling a prank, and the butt of that prank is Yaphet. They've taken a piece of him and put it in the buffet. Uh, I would think they'd know better than to do this, especially Gordon when he woke up without a leg. But
Yeah, they seem to be continuing the practical joke routine. And
right,
somehow they managed to steal a piece of Yaphet without him knowing.
right. He always seems to be aware when you take a piece from him, like from that episode with Drulio. He he accident a piece of him gets stuck on him, so and he notices it. So it's weird that they managed to do it without that happening. Anyway, Yaphet feels something is wrong finally. So I guess it's just a delayed reaction. Maybe they did it while he was asleep.
It's
Mm,
possible. And he does, Yaphet does get a larger role in this episode.
yeah, yeah. So he goes to sick bay to get some help from Dr. Finn. Of course, she's used to him coming in for nothing, so at first she's wary of him.
And right, I think this is like the awkward. I think this is supposed to be like the next scene from the because of what happened in the last episode. So she feels
Right.
awkward. Yes,
Yes. Yes.
but he's
Yes. That's
gotten
the
past it.
continuity of this show.
Right, it's a continuity, but he's gotten past it pretty much.
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. Well, he knows the reality of the situation.
Exactly.
And Dr. Finn's diagnosis reveals, well, actually, she can't really reveal much. She has to ask him, and she asks him if the piece that's missing has any kind of consciousness, and he says, "I have a dim sense of a dark, wet place," and that's all the clues that he's able to give her in that diagnosis that she performs. She is able to tell that a piece is missing too, somehow, with her tricorder. Or, wait, comm scanner. Sometimes I getting used to the Orville names versus the Star Trek names.
Right, it happens. It's natural.
So, Bortus is here, and he's having an upset stomach, which is really weird for someone like him. You know, when we saw him eating glass and
Right, which
napkins and all
right,
sorts of weird things.
right. The doctor does point that out. She says, and you could eat anything."
Hmm. So, of course, he ate a piece of Yaphet. So we found that out. Mm, and it's a little bit of an awkward scene here. Like, hey, you got a piece of me. And that always would be a weird thing. But it's either, really intensive surgery or Yaphet can go get it. so,
Right.
so he makes the right choice there. And hello in the chat to Calvatino Cavalryman. He's having a break from JD and AH coverage.
JD versus AH. I'm not sure what that means.
No,
I'm
me
sure it's
neither.
something. I'm sure it's something simple. I just
Right? I don't know. Um, so in that case, then just call me Che. Do I say that right too? Che. Just call me Che, my lady.
chess,
Che. Che. Che.
a lady.
I'm bad at pronunciation either way. So Lamar and Lamoy. Lamar and Malloy get in trouble for this prank, which makes sense because if anyone but Bortus ate that piece, that might have been worse for them. You don't know how they're if it
Yeah,
hurts their stomach.
and I was thinking the way Bortus eats, maybe anybody else would have noticed accidentally eating part of Yaphet, but I think the way Bortus eats, that's probably why he didn't notice.
Hmm. Right. And oh yeah, I guess maybe most people would just spit him right back up.
Well, what's funny too is they said that the piece of Bortus was hidden in a cake. I would have said Jello, but hey, can't have a bread name.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
that's it. Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard coverage. Okay, got it. Yes.
pirate guy and Aqua. Okay. Pirate guy and Aqua Lady using code to keep the stream under the radar. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and then I went and blew it, unfortunately.
No, that's okay. I have no idea. I know that they have a thing where she abused him or something, but I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
following it.
the court hearings are going on right now. I think they're finding out that she's guilty,
That makes sense. Yes.
and
Okay.
Warner Brothers is regretting their
Right. Mm.
decision and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, and
They do.
justifiably so. They should. Yes.
They were stupid. Anyway, um, as were Gordon and John. They do get a formal reprimand at least, and um, but after this reprimand that Kelly has with them, they don't get in any more trouble than that. And she's looking into Lamar's personnel file for the first time. Like, so how many months has it been?
Yeah, you think they would have done that before they recruited them, but oh well.
Mm-hmm. Right. But no, this. I guess he just came pre approved,
Yes.
and now she's finally seen his aptitude rating, and it's even news to Ed as well. Like nobody reads the personnel files of anybody. I don't know. At least Ed is asking the same question as I am. How did we not know about this? I hope you know, I would have liked to get a good answer there, but you know. Anyway, I like Ed's initial response to Kelly nominating him to chief engineer because his test scores may be amazing, but he hasn't shown any leadership, you know, or any desire for leadership.
And his lack of discipline. He doesn't bring that up, but that's a major point too.
Right, exactly. Right, he just got in trouble for a silly prank. And so they have that argument here about that very thing that we just mentioned. But then, while they're arguing about that, they get interrupted by this anomaly because we love those anomalies. And it seems that the Orville goes through something, and it very dramatically powers down after it goes through whatever this is, and it appears to come out of the other side just fine. And I love the pan around that we get of the Orville here when we see the engine lights go out, and not even Isaac can identify what the anomaly is, and everyone's very confused about it. And Alara reports no damage, but Borda says that the lower quantum engine has been knocked out of alignment, and Isaac will scan the anomaly in parts of the Orville that seem to have been affected, and he's going to work with the outfit to get the engines back up and running. And Kelly recruits Lamar to help too, because I'm not sure why Kelly is so gung ho about getting Lamar promoted, but this is her special project this episode.
Well, I know I can understand.
Hmm.
Okay, let me think about. All right, if to put this into perspective, they would have had a replacement for the engineer before they pulled him off to go work on the space station. But since
Exactly.
since they didn't have for some reason didn't have a backup, they've got to suddenly find a
Hmm.
replacement now. So they're kind of rushing through the plot, and it's unspoken of, but it's almost like for some reason she does not want Yafet to be chief engineer, even though he's actually second
Yeah,
in
he's
line
he's
for it,
the
or
obvious
first in line.
choice.
Right. So but that is brought up in the plot, in
Hmm.
the script.
Yes, they don't ignore that. It feels like, and I'm not sure, but it feels like they just want to give Lamar more exciting role.
Actually, yeah, that's what they want to give him. Okay, but I think that they're trying to not be too
Hmm.
much of Geordie LaForge,
Hmm.
but they're trying to expand his role, and I feel sorry for the guy that was playing Newton because he knew that essentially he's being written off the show, and this
Right.
was his last
Well,
year.
he was a good engineer,
He
but all
was. I
right.
liked him. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
I liked him too.
But in a way, kind of getting rid of him, he was kind of like a humorous engineer. So I think that's going to get rid of some of the humor, possibly.
Okay. This could also be a method of trying to make the show a little more serious too. That's a very good point.
Right. Even though the new engineer, he's we were talking about the discipline problems and everything, but I think he'll
Hmm.
prove to be a serious engineer eventually.
Yes, and hello in the chat to Raymond Feliciano. He is working but listening. Okay,
Good to see you,
wonderful.
Raymond.
Yeah, great to see you. I think you're right. I think this is a crossroads for him, and he's going between, um, one 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 way of looking at his role on the Orville to another. And so here he is, and the kids interrupt because, this is more continuity for the kids really want to spend time with Isaac from the episode Into the Fold.
Exactly right.
And they want to play Space Dragons, but of course, Isaac's got to work. But they ask if they can help, but Isaac's like, y'all are not smart enough, and uh, and Lamar um sees that as bullying, so they they allow the kids to come check out Yaphet's room.
Oh yeah, tag along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they tag along exactly to see what the anomaly, because they know the anomaly happens here. And Isaac reads something, and they all try to read what's going on. And the kids think the prank from earlier is funny. Mm. And Isaac finally reads something. He finds that this room has evidence of a quantum wake. And Ty discovers that the plants in the room, in this little corner of the room, have died. So, but they don't know why that is yet. But we do. Back in the conference room. Oh, hey. Bird of Prey 5, Kapla. You're welcome to join the panel if you'd like. As
Kapla,
is
bird of
anybody.
prey.
The panel link is up in there. If you feel up to it.
Absolutely.
If you just want to be in the chat, that's okay too.
Right.
And so, Lamar says they're not finding anything just by scanning the plants. The plants aren't giving them any clues. And their engine will be ready in 2.5 hours. So Captain Mercer is eager to fill the chief engineering position immediately. Because like you said, Pop Culture Curator, they would have had a replacement in place before Newton left, but they didn't. And she wants to make Lamar lead of the analysis. So he's choosing the most natural option, which is Yaphet. But Kelly is still gunning for Lamar. She wants to make Lamar lead of the analysis team, solving the mystery of the anomaly. And she almost reveals that she had a hand in Ed's command of the Orville, but it's too late now. He's figured it out. He put the clues together.
Right, which
And
is
he
a
knows.
callback to the first episode, right?
Mm-hmm. And she feels responsible for having put Ed into his slump when they got divorced, so she wanted to help him. And that's her reasoning, but now Ed is feeling unconfident with his becoming captain and not having done it solely on his own merits. And so this eats him up the whole episode. You know?
Yeah, I guess this is would be considered the B plot of this episode, possibly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's like two B plots. The B plot of Ed,
Well, that's
refinding his confidence and command, and Lamar finding his confidence in leadership in general.
yes.
And yeah, so I didn't even add any notes about this, but this is just him reconfirming, that what Kelly told him is what actually happened.
Yeah, he basically confronts the admiral and says, "Is it true?" And the admiral,
Mm-hmm.
in a basically kind of says, "Well, yeah." He didn't want to lie to
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yep. Um, and here, Gordon is asking if maybe it'd be a good idea to get a bridge cat, and this gives Isaac a chance to learn about the concept of pets. And you're reminded of Spot from TNG. Mm. And of course, Isaac is trying to understand. So, in order to do so, he tries to test it out to test what having a pet is like. So he starts petting Gordon and asks if they're bonding. And so Kelly asks Lamar in about his high test marks, and he says he's chosen not to have it affect his career. She further discusses the history of money that became obsolete with the matter synthesizers, so that wealth is now defined as being the best you can become in whatever career you choose. And John counters that not everyone cares for that. He likes being able to work and then being able to relax afterwards. And still, Kelly wants him to try to use what he's got. And there are actually people like that who like to like to pretend that they aren't as intelligent as they are, in order to get along socially.
Well, you're right. They can have the intelligence and the test scores, but they don't want the
Mhm.
responsibility.
Right. And hail in the chat too, Christian Fandom Geek. Welcome.
Hello there.
And he says, "What's up? We are reviewing Orville, the last two episodes of season 1. So we'll be starting season 2 next week."
And Bird, hope you're feeling well, brother.
Oh yeah. Yes, I hope you are feeling great or better or whatever. Back on the bridge, Bordish reports that a Horbalok smuggler ship is about to run into the anomaly. They're trying to warn him, um, you know, but he's too busy eating, and he only trusts his own sensors, and his own sensors tell him there's nothing wrong.
Right, and unfortunately, they have to make this character as unsympathetic as possible, which pretty much tells us the fate of the character before it happens.
That's true, yeah.
They always do that. Yeah, they always make him unsympathetic. So I don't know why. I mean, why can't they make him sympathetic so you can care? But it doesn't matter, right?
That's a good point. I don't know. I think I like that. I like that point. But of course, he doesn't listen. And that's the end of the slides here. So I'm going to start sharing this one. See if I can be a little more seamless about this time.
Okay.
And so the shuttlecraft, they send a team to go check on the ship. And the ship ignores all the warnings. Oh, and he says, Gra Kaluga. And apparently that is like some kind of something that the universal translator on the ship can't translate. And I guess it might be some kind of jargon because it means to shove it up your something.
Right. And which apparently Isaac was able to interpret.
Yeah, Isaac knows somehow. And so they check on the ship. So just like the Orville, when the Orville powered down, the ship's lost its power. This ship's lost its power too. And and of course the captain of the ship here has died. And just like the plants, they don't know why.
And they do explain that it's a smuggling ship, by the way.
Yes, yes. On the ship, Alara finds some krill weapons. Here's Alara with her with a box of krill weapons here, and that there are several more crates of these weapons. So they know that the krill are going to come by soon to find them. And Christian Fandom Geek says he needs to watch this show. Yes, you do. I'm a I'm a Star Trek Voyager fan. Hey, yeah. I love all real Star Trek. So I agree.
Yeah, if you like Star Trek, we recommend this rather than New Trek. Definitely.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Mm. And and that captain of the vessel, he had died from a heart attack. And Commander Grayson wants to talk to Ed, but he's more concerned with he's trying to concern himself more with his work, which isn't a bad idea in this case, since the Krill are on their way.
True.
And but Kelly wants to smooth over the wrinkle in their professional relationship that she just made and revealing her part in getting Ed his command. But his response is, um, okay, let's talk about the fact that from now on, I'm going to second guess every command decision I ever make because I will never know whether I'm truly the person who deserves to be making those decisions. And that's so I guess then it was vital for her to address it if it's directly affecting his command performance that much. I didn't realize he was so sensitive.
Right, and it's a rift between them that she wants to work out.
Hmm. And this alien is from a running gag from earlier. The alien that comes up here after their little argument here. This one. And I
Right.
purposely didn't write down his name.
Oh, did they mention his name? Oh, they did mention his name. He's the one who takes care of the plants aboard
Yeah.
the ship when they found the dead planet and the
Hmm.
plant in the quarters earlier. Commander asked, "Well, do we have anybody who takes care of plants?" And Kelly says, "Well, yeah, there's that one." She says his name. There's this
Hmm.
character's name, and then uh, Captain Mercer said, "Oh, he's the one where I always say, 'Hey, you guy,' or something like that. Oh, you again." He
Yeah,
passes
there you are.
right. He says, "Hey, you again," and that's all he ever says to the guy. He never addresses him by name, and he doesn't know him, but he says, "Hey, you again. It's you again."
Right, exactly.
Right.
That's that guy. And so Ed makes it to his office, and Yaphet is there. And here we have Yaphet, who's upset about Lamar getting the lead on the science team instead of him, which is completely makes sense, completely within his right.
Unbelievable. Yes, I'm glad they had this scene. Yes.
It's vital, important for this scene to exist because after all his effort and all the sacrifice and all the work he's done in engineering, working directly with Newton, it would only be logical for Yaphet to be um to be next, the chief engineer. So I'm fully with him here. But Kelly believes Lamar to be the untapped potential that needs to be uncovered.
It's
So
almost it's almost like they're lightly touching on affirmative action without nailing it on the head.
um well, in this case it would be reverse affirmative action because everyone's egalitarian and everyone's
Well,
equal.
right.
So
Well, and not
so
only
the
that, but in this case, the guy who is replacing is actually qualified. A lot of times when it comes to affirmative action, they're
mhm,
hired for who they are, not for their qualifications. But that's not the case here.
right. At least he's qualified. Really the one who feels discriminated against here is Yaphet.
Yes.
Um so yeah, there's some great jokes there. I'm not gonna cut into those. And there's a recut of this very scene that I think is pretty awesome. I'm surprised this thing doesn't have more views than it does. And it comes from a similar rant that Odo has regarding his chief of security job aboard Deep Space Nine, um, versus Yaphet as chief engineer.
Oh, really
And
interesting.
and I'm gonna play it here. I really hope that YouTube is okay with me playing this. So last time I tried to play a video, they were all so if anyone in the playback sees a blank here, that's what happened. But here, let's try it anyway.
Because they distrust changelings.
I am not. I have several gelatinous friends.
I don't require your understanding. My resignation will be logged within the hour.
Granted.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have a link below in the description for the creator of this cut. I think it was brilliant.
Yeah,
The first one
especially
I watched
funny.
was
Yeah, I'm not
hilarious.
familiar with DS9 as much as you, but yeah, thank you for
Mhm.
pointing that out. And it's interesting that they're both shapeshifters. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the funny thing about Odo. He always chooses to be in human form the whole time. So it's really cool to see another shapeshifter who feels more free just being the blob, just being a a, a goo to just
Yes.
just float around. And and Sir Jacob says the most wholesome voice on YouTube right here. Oh, thank you. And wow, Star Trek has changed. Yeah, I really love that video. I'm just surprised it has such low views as it does. And Bird of Prey 5 says, very cool. And my battery is running low. Oh no. I I need you to vamp for just a moment because I forgot to grab my power supply. I'll be
Go
right
for it.
back.
Go for it. And hello, Deej. Welcome. It's good to see everybody in the chat, by the way. We do usually try to recognize and address everybody. Sir Jacob, it's good to see you. I like your, I believe it's a PlayStation avatar. And I love food. Good to see you as well. I can't really see. Can I scroll through? Yeah, let me say hello. Sir Jacob, I love food. Christian Fandom Geek. Oh, Christian Fandom Geek. By the way, my channel was deleted accidentally a couple weeks ago. If you liked it, resub. I lost all my subs a couple weeks ago, and I'm having to rebuild my channel. So if there's anybody here that does like my content and what I produce, please feel free to link. I guess I need to put a link to it in the chat. But if you go to YouTube and look up Pop Culture Curator, you'll find my new channel. But I don't want to use this time to plug myself. I hope everybody's doing well out there. And we do highly recommend this show. This is the reason why we skip over it. We try not to give out too many details so that it leaves a lot of the surprise and the wonder open for you when you watch it. But so far, for what her and the general consensus between Jill and I is we haven't found a bad episode yet. Like any show, it's like a roller coaster. It goes up and down with the quality, but we haven't seen any real lows. Generally, this show has good, solid writing.
Yes, yes, it's incredible how consistent they've been able to make it. When
Right, and they're
usually,
able, yeah, and they're able to give each of the characters moments to shine, so you get to know them, which is really good.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And yes, we will be promoting your channel later on also. And yes, also, actually, I'm not too concerned with spoilers from season 1 and 2 because they've been out for 4 or 5 years.
5 years.
But when we do season 3, I do plan on segregating my live stream for non-spoiler review, and then
Okay,
it'll transition at some point to spoilers.
gotcha.
So that will be done different. That way people can still enjoy part of the new the new Orville if they don't
Thank
want it
you,
spoiled.
Bird. That is so kind of you. I appreciate it.
And hello in the chat to Deej. And Sir Jacob says, you guys are wonderful at banking ideas off of each other. And I can definitely support you. Deej says, shame it got canceled, right, Bird? Yes. The new season of the Orville is called Orville New Horizons, and they did a interior refit of the ship and have a new shuttlecraft, so I can see how it can be considered a new show. And thank you, Bird of Prey 5, for posting the link to Pop Culture Curator's channel. If anybody here is a mod, they're completely welcome to post the links to other channels who are in the chat that they support. I only do it at the end of the show so that I could focus on the episodes. But if anybody wants to do it for me, I'm totally happy with that. And thank you, Sir Jacob, for sharing out your Batcave video.
Thank you,
Oh, that's
sir. Thank you, Sir Jacob. I appreciate that's my Bronson Cave video.
oh, you went to the Batcave. That's cool.
Yeah, I posted that last week. I've got a lot more videos I need to post. I'll be hopefully posting another one.
Sweet.
I was supposed to yesterday, but I was busy helping another YouTuber. But I'll
Mhm.
try to have another video posted today.
Well, that's good. That's good of you to help. Post notifications on. I'll share you out every time, just like Joe. Oh, on
Thank you,
Twitter, right?
sir. Thank you, Sir Jacob.
That's
We
probably what I mean.
appreciate that. And thank you for
Alright.
clicking like. For those of you in the chat, if you like this, please click the like button and subscribe to Anti-Derivative Jill's channel.
Yeah, let's go back to the episode. Lamar is trepidatious about engineering. He doesn't want to go in. He just doesn't. He's not very happy. He
Well,
disappears.
he's not used to going in and taking charge. That's what it is, right? He's very
Mhm.
nervous.
He doesn't want to be the man. And but luckily for him, his friend comes along. Gordon comes along, and John immediately relaxes seeing him. But he can't hang out because he needs to work with the science team. And he's never been the leader before, and he doesn't really want it. Malloy tries to help him by telling him the only time he's really been the leader, which was camp counselor.
Right, it's funny. He should learn by now not to take Gordon's advice, but hey, why not, huh?
Why does he do this? Yeah, right. But he does. He totally takes his advice. This is so bonkers that he actually does this. And even though it's very silly, it's kind of good to see Lamar start off with this type of failure.
But basically, this is him building his confidence, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to break the ice with the science team, but they're kind of confused about it. Like they have a range of varying emotions here. Of one's flabbergasted, one's confused,
All
another's apathetic,
suspicious, right? They all look suspicious. Like, what is he doing
worried,
here, right?
suspicious. There's another good one.
Yes.
Lieutenant Dan is reveals it for his part that he likes to refinish antique furniture. So I don't know if that'll ever come up again, but I guess I'm filing that away. And actually, the whole idea of getting to know one another would have been fine, but he could have just asked. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need the candy. Like Yaphet says, they should be analyzing the data, but it does also appear like he's taking advantage of John's insecurity. And as a result, he cancels the entire exercise, and Isaac determines that Lamar would not make a good leader from this experience. And John notices something weird on the console, and Isaac identifies that the quantum phasing signature of the anomaly does not conform to the universal constant. And somehow that leads Lamar to conclude that the anomaly is an entrance to another dimension. So that's a fun leap. So here I was expecting, and I'm still sort of correct, that they're using quantum mechanics as a cover for the science fantasy aspect of entering another dimension.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on with this episode. So it's a bit of theoretical physics mixed with that science fantasy, to be more clear, because we can define quantum phases. So quantum phases is a real thing, but we just don't use them to travel to other dimensions just yet. And in reality, quantum phases are a state of matter at zero temperature. And, I don't really understand quantum physics yet. So this episode just makes me really interested in that subject.
It is very interesting, and I do admit it's above my pay grade too.
Mm-hmm. All I know that in reality it's related to thermodynamics. And I think the real reason that science fiction explores this idea is because the extra dimensions help solve the mathematics of several quantum mechanics questions. So why not also make those dimensions, exist somehow?
Right. You know what? And that's a good point because I was just thinking how this also reminds me of Star Trek. When they mention the sci-fi jargon here, it makes you stop and think because you wonder how it may be somewhat grounded in reality. Totally unlike the new Trek. The new Trek, I mean, they have no sense of ground in reality when they try to talk about science.
Exactly. So when I listen to the Orville talk about science, sure, like some of it's fantastical, but it makes you think about real science, and it has a connection. It has a connection to reality, and I'm not just sitting there like, what is this technobabble that makes no sense to the previous technobabble they said? And so this is different. They keep it simple, and they keep your imagination going. It's lovely. I love it.
Absolutely right. And this is the type of thing that encourages kids to, when they grow up, to be engineers and get into science and things. So it should
Well,
be
hell
hopeful for
yeah.
the future.
Exactly. I already want to learn more about, quantum mechanics and astrophysics from the show. Um,
Absolutely.
maybe maybe I'll eventually try to understand that kind of stuff because I do have the prerequisites for learning that stuff, but I just have never done it.
Well, we got one of the smartest people on the internet right here.
Well, um, I wouldn't quite say that. Maybe the most curious. I'll say I'm the most curious
Jill is
person on the internet.
modest. You're smart still
So
and funny.
thank you. So the reason why it works to so here, I've been a little bit sketchy about having Lamar be upgraded so quickly, but the reason why the other side of the coin, and the reason why I think it does work to develop Lamar's character so quickly is not only that it's been established that he's been hiding his intellect, but also that he isn't shown to be the only problem solver in this case. So he's working directly with Isaac, and they're discovering together. So at least he's being shown as having teamwork, and they're able to determine that this doorway leads to a portion of space which is two-dimensional, where only length and width exist. And I also love this concept of going into Flatland as imagined by Edwin Abbott. And TNG attempted this in the episode The Loss, which we're not going to talk about the A plot where Troy loses her powers. We don't. Um, what was relevant was that all we got was a weird flat world tossed into the middle of space, um, without any pretense of it existing in its own universe. So it was just shoving a 2D world into a 3D world, and so and that 2D world somehow entrapped the Enterprise with its gravity somehow. And I know that um, the 2D world is only theoretical anyway, so it's still kind of cool to explore the idea, but it was kind of a hard sell. Orville here takes a bit of a different approach, and they define it as being a pocket of space that is separate from the regular universe. So that gives it its own reality.
That's true. Yes.
So it would get so so in this case, when 3D world interacts with the 2D, um, it'll get squished into flatness, just like everything else in two dimensions.
Which is what killed the captain of the
Exactly.
right of the other ship that died that they showed. So that's
Right.
that's how they explain. Because basically, I can't. I know I'm not gonna be able to use the verbatim what they said here, but basically they said that they will into the second in the two-dimensional world where they're flattened, and then when they come back out to the three-dimensional world, then they're put whole again. But by doing that, it destroys their body chemistry pretty much to where it can't function.
Mm, correct. The living cells require three-dimensional geometry,
Yes.
and and that's why they died. Very good. Let me see what's going on here. And we have quite a few chats here.
Yeah, we got some people here into quantum.
Yeah, right.
If you guys have any advice or recommendations, or if you have experience with quantum physics or anything, sure, bring it up in the chat or join us up here in the panel. We're always welcome
Absolutely.
for more opinions. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sir Jacob uses the YouTube community tab. That's right. After you get 500 subscribers, you get the YouTube community tab, which is so cool. I wish I had that.
Me too. I'm very far from
But
it,
thank
but
you so much.
you'll get there, Jill. I guarantee you. You've got a good shot.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's all I would need. I don't know why it's not a standard feature. Um, Sir Jacob says, please do continue with the analysis of the video. And Sir Jacob also says, Jill, he doesn't want to be the man. That's a bold statement. Well, I got that phrasing from Stargate SG-1 when Colonel O'Neill becomes general and he becomes, the leader of the base, and he's that's exactly what he says. I never really wanted to be the man, and so I just did that parallel. And Raymond Feliciano says, for all the things Dolphin Wars, go to the link http linktree/Dolphin Wars, and that includes King Dolphin TV. Woohoo! Love the dolphins.
Very cool.
My favorite animal. Mine too, actually. My favorite animal is elephant. My second favorite is dolphin. They are beautiful. And Christian Fandom Geek says quantum entanglement. Nice. And Sir Jacob says, isn't there a quote that says that if you think you understand quantum physics, you don't? Oh, that's cool. I gotta look at that quote. I like that. And Raymond says quantum physics makes my head hurt. Anti-derivative Joe. Me too, at least right now. Christian Fandom Geek says no one really understands it, and I think he's including quantum mechanic engineers. But it's awesome. And Sir Jacob says Richard Feynman. Richard Feynman is a well-known physicist. I like him a lot. He also liked to drum and pick locks. Christian Fandom Geek says quantum mechanics is the science of the subatomic level of reality. And Sir Jacob says, technobabble. I love your expression. Quantum field theory. And definitely smart. I could tell that when I first watched the show. Where are the particles when they aren't observed? Oh, right. You can only tell where the particle is or how fast it's going, but you can't tell both. So understanding quantum mechanics is bonkers. Sir Jacob says, knock on, because nothing is ever created or destroyed. That's correct. It mutates. And Sir Jacob says, that's more like if a tree falls in the forest kind of thing. And he's interested in psychology, pharmacology, chemistry, and behavioral studies. Oh, Richard Feynman is the creator of the quote, if you think you understand quantum physics, you don't.
Right. It's an ongoing understanding, and it's something we are far from grasping completely.
Right. Then, exactly. So, before we get any further with that, though, the Krill ships come looking for their missing weapons as predicted earlier, but the engines of the Orville, are still unready. And Lamar has an idea using the engine's quantum field generator. Even though the engines aren't working, the quantum field generator is. So they use that to make a bubble around the Orville. And this supposedly will give them a method to travel as a three-dimensional object within a two-dimensional dimension so they can hide from the Krill. And Isaac backs it up as something that's theoretically possible. So I guess it's either that or Phase 3 Krill vessels, which will surely destroy the Orville. So they go with the theory, of course.
Yes.
So, plus they made a mention of successful quantum bubbles previously made in the episode Old Wounds, where they encounter a quantum field generator in that episode too. And this one was the one that aged that banana, and unfortunately also that astrophysicist.
Right. In fact, in this episode, the beginning when they showed that dead plant, that's the first thing that crossed my mind is I wonder if it had died of old age. But we find out that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting case. Yeah, that was a good logical conclusion there, though. That establishment, that they've made that kind of establishment helps me accept the idea within the context of the show. So that really helps.
Absolutely.
And so here are the Krill vessels arriving just a little too late. They just missed the Orville, going to the anomaly.
And I guess fortunately they don't see the anomaly.
Right. If they had seen the Orville going to the anomaly, they would have followed right in and been squished. And the science team is in engineering, and Yaphet's on the case. He has the idea to couple the quantum phase inducers wave function to the deflector grid's amplitude. So someone just reminded me to learn about quantum engineering and mechanics and astrophysics later. Anyway, Yaphet's idea works, and so they do enter the anomaly just in time as the Krill ships arrive. And we see flatland. There's that flatland. And I think this is a really beautiful depiction of what flatland could look like. Who could be, this flatland would be completely unaware of the Orville, except maybe seeing shadow. Oh, Pop Culture Curator, could you vamp for me just for a little bit? I got to answer this.
Go for it. And I wish I could be as enlightened on quantum physics as Jill is, but I'm afraid I'm not. I'm highly interested in it, but I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert. And this is something I'll bring up to Jill when she comes back. What you can see here in this still is their ship traveling through a two-dimensional world. So you'll see their ship as a three-dimensional object going through what looks like a circuit board type of thing. It kind of reminds me of Tron. And so they don't bring this up in the episode, but pretty much this three-dimensional ship is plowing right through this two-dimensional universe. And they never bring up the question is, are they affecting that universe? Are they hurting anybody there? What is their ship doing by plowing through it? They don't bring that up. Which, I know that's kind of a nitpicking thing, but it's an oversight I wish they would have brought up. If they could at least mention, they could have asked, how do we know our ship is not affecting this two-dimensional plane? Maybe perhaps Isaac could have, said that them being in their quantum field somehow avoids that, but they don't really bring up the subject. So we're to assume that they're able to travel through this two-dimensional plane, but not create any damage as they're doing it in their wake. Richard Feynman is the creator of the quote. I need to look up Richard Feynman. It sounds like a very smart person. And like Jill was saying, we're covering, these are the last two episodes of the first season of the Orville. Starting next Tuesday, we will be covering the first two episodes of the second season. And the show just seems to get better and better. So I'm really excited and looking forward to it. This, in fact, as I was telling Jill before, for me, this is, I watched these when it came out, which was like 5 years ago. And now upon my second viewing, I enjoy this even more. So I highly recommend this show, and I especially recommend watching it at least a second time. And I know there's some people in the chat who have watched it many more times than that. So they probably could explain a lot better than I could about some of the details. And hello, son of a red shirt. Welcome. Glad you're here. I hope you are feeling well, sir. I hope you're out of the hospital. And once again, if anybody has any recommendations, and Jill left a link at the top if anybody wants to join us in the panel. You do not have to know the show. You do not have to have watched the show to join the panel. You can join and be an observer, or just add to the jokes or comments anytime if you would like. We're not here to skewer the show or to give it the MST 3K treatment. So we will treat it with respect because it is well written. Maybe eventually we'll do Discovery MST 3K style. That show deserves it, especially Picard. And son of a red shirt, there he is.
Oh, hello in the chat to Son of a Red Shirt. So glad to see you here. And all the groovy Orvillians in the chat. Hola and good afternoon to all. Woo-hoo.
Absolutely.
And oh man. I really like this.
Okay, Jill, did you hear what I was talking about, the two-dimensional plane?
No, I had to go. I had to take the call. My
Okay.
son got stabbed in the hand with a pencil.
Oh
So-
no.
He's okay, but the nurse just wanted me to be aware.
Oh, yeah. Well, she'll take care of him.
Yeah.
He or she, I should say.
Yeah,
Sorry
she-
about that.
Yeah, she said he'd be fine.
What I brought up in the chat, which I was thinking about upon rewatching this episode a second time, is, and I'm glad you're showing this still here. This is the three-dimensional Orville traveling through the plane of the two. It's the two-dimensional plane of this two-dimensional universe, and they're basically, they don't bring, at least I didn't notice, they don't bring up is their ship affecting this world because they're plowing right through it, and they don't know if they could be causing damage or what they're doing, but they don't bring it up.
Oh,
And I thought that was
they
odd.
do. I think they
Do
do.
they?
I think they say that they shouldn't be affecting it. I do think they do that, but I didn't write any notes about that.
Because they're in the quantum bubble. Maybe
So
that
you could
protects
be
them.
right. You could be completely right. I'd have to go back and rewatch to see. And Isaac postulates here that that what we see here is a 2D civilization. So Ed wants to know if we could communicate with them, but Isaac says that's not possible. But I guess if a 3D object so in Flatland, a sphere is able to present itself to a triangle by showing its cross sections. But I guess because if a 3D object in this show tries to exist in 2D, it just gets squashed. So in that case, Isaac's theory is probably correct.
Yes.
Unfortunately, though, because I do love when Star Trek gets to communicate. And I also love when Gordon questions he questions the existence of a fourth and fifth dimension and whether they're watching them, because that is a pretty good conclusion. That's exactly the conclusion that the exploration of Flatland wants you to draw.
Yes, exactly, because it's something we do not know the answer to, and it could be possible.
Right. Let me see what's going on here. It could very well be possible, because we know we can imagine what a tesseract looks like in in 3 dimensions projected on a. We can imagine what a 4-dimensional tesseract looks like projected onto a 3-dimensional plane.
Right.
But that's not in this episode. That's in episode of Cosmos by Carl Sagan, but also all over the internet.
Right here in these shots here, you'll see there are a lot of them that are admiring the view. It kind of reminds me of Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
I admire the view. I love Star Trek: The Motion Picture too, so I don't mind a little
So do I.
admiration of
Absolutely,
things
and
that are fascinating.
And I recommend the new 4K director's cut for all you guys out there. I highly
Oh, right.
recommend
I
it.
need to watch that for you so we can review that.
Absolutely wonderful. It looks wonderful, and the pacing is very tightened up on that movie. It's not a slog like some
Hmm.
people thought the
Right,
theatrical cut
right. They
was.
call it the slow motion picture. Mm.
Yeah, so they trimmed it up, took a lot of shots out, but
Yeah,
it's
I
very
heard about that.
cohesive. Right, it's cohesive. There's nothing missing that's going to jar the plot. So yeah, felt very well done. Highly recommended. On top of the remastered 4K special effects, of course.
Hmm. Right, right. They fix a lot of things in that. So I love here that Seth includes some discussion on Flatland by Edwin Abbott into the script because it gives me an excuse to talk about it. It was an allegory for classism, where the more sides that you had in this universe, because your shape in this universe, the more sides you had, the higher you were on the totem pole up into the shape who has the most sides, which is a circle. Because to make a circle on the computer, you just make a polygon that has so many sides that it appears to be a circle. And I made this before in graphics class. Have you have you ever read Flatland, Pop Culture Curator?
No, I have not. It's just
No.
sad to say, but I am going to
Oh,
now after seeing
it's
this.
really it's a really good book. Yeah, I
It
recommend
sounds
it, and
like
it's
it.
not too long either.
Seriously though, 1850 is what he said when it was written, right? Something like that.
Mhm. Yeah,
Very nice. Yeah, I love old sci-fi from back then. I'm a big fan of H.G. Wells and things. Jules
and
Verne.
hello in the chat to Dalek451. Thank goodness, a live stream talking about something interesting.
That's right,
Also,
Dalek.
hi.
Good to see you, Dalek.
Wow. So here's a first on my channel. My very, very special friend. I really love R.M. Briggs. Hello. It's so great to see you here.
Hello, Aaron
And
Briggs.
R.M. Briggs says, I
Welcome.
love that book.
Right, somebody else
Yeah.
who read the book. Now I feel like a outcast here. I'm the only
Where's
one who hasn't.
Jill? And yeah, no, I love that Seth brings it up because he doesn't really even need to. It's not really integral to the plot or anything. It's just something of interest, and I appreciate it.
Likewise, I did too.
He says, I love you too, beautiful. And so anyway, this scene though, this scene is not actually about that Flatland book. It's more about um it's more about Seth, not Seth, Ed.
Seth,
Anyway, it's about
Ed
Kelly.
Seth.
It's about Kelly. It's about Kelly making the point that no one does anything all on their own, and ultimately she's happy to have recommended him because she gets to work with somebody she respects and someone that she enjoys seeing every day. But at this point, Isaac reads a fluctuation in the bubble, which causes this to happen. The bubble's failing, so they have to get out of Flatland, or they'll be squashed. So they really need to get out of this anomaly. And, and I wonder just how many times I'm gonna say squash today. You could,
Right, that
I
is
don't,
basically what happened. Is that the bubble, the quantum bubble? Sorry about my phone. The quantum bubble is
that's
basically
okay.
collapsing and flattening with them on the inside of it. Yes.
Yes, and yeah, I'm not. They're not really clear on what's happening here. Are they experiencing 2.65 dimensional space or something like that? And we just get the visual effect of it.
Right. Right. The visual effect. It looks like
Mhm.
they're being pressed towards the ground or whatever surface.
Oh, you're right. That's exactly how they explain it. They're being drawn towards the two-dimensional world, and that's what's happening there. And even the ship also is getting squished. Everybody. It's pretty inventive effect. And Isaac's able to restore the bubble, being the strongest one on the ship. Nope, without Isaac there, they'd be screwed because no one else would have had the strength, I guess, to
Right.
do that. Well, I guess they do later on. Maybe there's varying degrees of how much you're being pulled towards the the two-dimensional world.
Yeah. I think Raymond Feliciano has a message for you.
Okay. Yes, Aaron Briggs says, adding in that science earns our respect. And Aaron Feliciano says, I have to go, but can I shout out my interview tonight? Yes, you can. Please do. The link's in the chat if you want to come on and talk about it. Anybody is welcome to join the panel. It's in the pinned description. But if you just want to put it in the comments, I'll also read it out for you. And Aaron Briggs says, as many times as you need to. Waves goodbye to Raymond. All right. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
Raymond. You're absolutely welcome.
Very cool. Yeah, and thank you for joining us, Raymond.
Yes. And then I've got to refine my place here. So they have to just get out of Flatland at this point, but of course they can't. There's always something in sci-fi shows where, you want to get out, but you can't.
Gotta have that suspense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Gordon says they can't leave Flatland, and Lamar notices that the anomaly has closed up. So here, Isaac is saying that 2D space is pulling the Orville towards it, just like you said earlier. They have 21 minutes to get out, or the quantum bubble is going to fail completely. So Isaac's found that the quantum fluctuation, they may be able to... Okay, so I don't really know what this is exactly. They found a quantum fluctuation somewhere in this 2D world or wherever that they should be able to use to get back. So we're just going to accept that that's a thing that can happen. So
yeah, they're assuming that it's a portal.
Right. And that's a lot of assumptions, but I guess that they only have that one shot. So Lamar suggests using the shuttle as a tow truck with the tractor beam. And they decide to use an internal quantum bubble so that the outside of the shuttle will get flat, but the inside will still be three-dimensional. And, that's another thing you just got to accept,
Yeah, because I'm immediately thinking, won't that damage the ship where it's unable to fly? But oh well,
Yeah, right. This is where we fluctuate between science fiction and fantasy, but it's still good stuff. It still grounds it. It still grounds some. It's still grounded.
Right, it's not completely ridiculous, or it takes you out of the show, right?
Yeah, they try to compare it to the TARDIS from Doctor Who.
Right, they even bring that up without a copyright. A certain way to bring that up.
Yeah. And Captain Mercer has to prove to himself something, so he's driving the shuttle. And actually, the only part of this episode that I really don't like is when the engineering team are ragging on Yaphet when he was the one who saved them from getting destroyed by the Krill.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, that remarked.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's no reason to make the engineering team look like goofuses just to play up Lamar's leadership skills here. We don't need that because we already like Lamar. I don't get why they do this. We already believe in him, so it was completely unnecessary. Or they could have, done something else without compromising the intelligence of these engineers.
Yeah, I didn't think it did anything wrong at all.
No, of course not. Even with that said, I guess I do like that he takes responsibility for accepting his teammates' idea, as he would any others. So I guess that's the point. But I think they could have done it a little more subtly.
True.
So, and Raymond Feliciano says, I will be on with Maria with tea and telly tonight at 6:30 Eastern Time. That's 5:30 Central. Everybody go to Raymond Feliciano's channel, King Dolphin TV. Why not? I'll pull that up since we're promoting that anyway. That's King Dolphin TV's channel right here. Everybody, make sure you're subscribed to King Dolphin TV and check him out. Check him out tonight with Maria and T and Telly. Wow, I really love Maria. She's great. And R.M. Briggs says, he gives us enough to stay immersed. And we do. We understand he's a genius. Don't Wesley him. Yeah, oh my God, is that why I hate this scene? Are they Wesleying him?
I guess so, right?
Wow, thank you for clarifying that. I couldn't figure out why. I just felt really icky about that scene. Anyway, this is the part of the episode where we get back to some very largely based action scenes. So we get to see the outside of the ship entering flatland, while the inside of the ship. Well, I guess actually we still haven't left the shuttle bay here. This is the part where I don't have many notes because we're just witnessing, things happening here. Oh, right. Okay, so this is how the ship turns into 2Ds and still maintains 3 dimensions inside and locks its tractor beam onto the Orville. And Ed, in this case, okay, after Lamar is finished being sick, and after the shuttle locks its tractor beam, these are a lot of really fun looking action scenes that are really pretty.
And the visual effects are really well done. It does not look cheap.
No. They do a lot with a little, and that's what Star Trek has always done. And they do marvelous.
Absolutely.
And Ed finally asks Lamar why he hides his intellect, and it's revealed that Lamar grew up on a colony that mostly had farmers and construction workers. That high intellect wasn't valued, so he'd learned to suppress it. And it's here that Ed asks Lamar if he'll be chief engineer. So, and of course, then we get more action. So I can't really add much commentary to the action.
Right, that
But
was their as you see there, it looks like their heads are on the console because the bubble is threatening to collapse on them right there.
yes.
Okay.
And so the that being the climax of the episode, everything winds down from there, and and Ed makes up with Kelly, saying it has to do with how seriously he takes his job, and that he should have said thank you, and that he was being a petulant brat. I'm not sure if he actually says those words exactly. Well, that was a quick turnaround, and that, of course, Lamar is now Lieutenant Commander Lamar. Oh, okay. Also, that was that kiss. Okay.
Right, so this is now our new engineering crew. So we have
Yes.
Lamar and the crew, yes.
Okay. Boom.
And no Yaphet in that shot.
Yeah. Yaphet. There's Yaphet.
Yep, there he is.
Mm-hmm. And I believe this episode explored Flatland just as well as you possibly could. I mean, before this, my favorite was Futurama, but this one does it just a little bit better, I think. But they're still both really good, and managed to wrangle the 2 subplots involving Ed's revelation and Lieutenant Lamar. So, what did you think of this episode, Pop Culture Curator? What were some of your favorite parts?
Well, like you said, I like the similarities between Captain Mercer finding out that his wife pretty much got him the captain's position, so he doubted his ability to do the job, and he lost confidence based on that. But at the same time, we have Lamar here, who pretty much has no confidence either. Who's also it's about him gaining confidence to take over this new position as chief engineer. And so I like that, even though it was two B plots running side by side, they were very similar.
Yes,
So
they were.
yeah, so it helped us adjust to we along with the crew have adjusted from Lamar going to a prankster, a goofball who's always joking around all the time, where he's proven his worth and he's got his responsibility now, and it looks like he's going to be a good engineer. So he looks like he's a good fit. So it does make sense by the time we get to the end of this episode.
Yes, they make it work. They've made their decision, and now we're going along with it. And we sub if you haven't already, sub the King Dolphin TV. And hello in the chat to Zax.
Hail, Zax. Hello.
And I'm sure Raymond's already gone, but take care. Anti-Derivative Jill and Pop Culture Curator. Great review. I will have to watch it. Yes, I love this episode and also the one that follows. And hello in the chat to Sandra Feliciano. Hi,
Hello, Sandra.
Hey, Felicianos. And Aaron Briggs says, I will miss him, and I'm assuming that means Yaphet. Yes, I will miss him too. We get him
Yes.
we get him one more time in season 3.
It'll be interesting how they sign off the character, because when they shot his last roles, they didn't know he was going to die. So
yeah, they had to rewrite something and do something special for him. Who knows? Maybe that was part of the reason why they had to delay. I don't know.
You never know. Maybe he told them that he was ill.
No, he didn't tell anybody.
He
that
didn't
was
know.
the thing.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't.
He knew, but he didn't tell anyone until he was already.
He didn't want the sympathy parade, which is I give him credit for. Yeah.
Oops. All right.
Yes, and there's I like what Cavatino Cavalryman says. Wait, there's a teaching moment, not a pushing a message in this episode. Actually, yes. It makes you stop and think without telling you what to think.
Yes, and Armbrid confirms he kept it a secret. And Son of a Red Shirt says, I haven't seen all the Orville. However, the promotion of Lamar felt to echo the promotion of LaForge on Next Gen, insofar as the script never really gave us an indication previous engineering skills. Although there is a little bit of previous engineering skills that we see from Lamar when he has to do a refit on the navigational array in a previous episode. So they did show him doing a bit of engineering before.
Yes, they did. And with the Next Generation, didn't LaForge take over from wasn't O'Brien the original engineer? Or am I wrong?
Oh, okay. So you're revealing that I'm not as good at with names as I should
and
be.
I'm not that familiar with TNG.
They had a series of engineers. They didn't really have a specific chief engineer. They just had chief engineer of the week or month or.
Gotcha. Yeah, that
Lauren Briggs
sounds
watches
about right.
it every week. She could tell me who was chief engineer before, but I don't remember.
The list of the names go on.
Yeah. There's at least I feel like there's 5, but I don't know. And so then here she's got one here. One of the chief engineers was Sarah McDougall. Thank you.
McDougall.
Gotta
be
right?
Scottish or Irish, right?
It's gotta be. So our next episode is Mad Idolatry, and this episode aired December 7th, 2017, and it was written by Seth MacFarlane and directed by Brandon Braga. And if you pay attention to the opening credits, Lamar's title is upgraded to Lieutenant Commander. So This episode starts with Ed trying to drink with his friend, with a friend, but Gordon's already ready for bed, and Lamar's also ready for bed too, in a bit of a different way. Um, I remember this being brought up in an interview that I showed last time, where they talked about him being shirtless again in season 3, and he just said, "Use what you got." No kidding. Well, so Lamar's not interested because he has a friend over, but um, finally we get to hang out with Bortus, and he's invited in, and they're having this drink that looks like mud. Um, it's apparently aged 9 years. Oh, it's called Opsada.
Upsala, and according to them, Clyden, it doesn't leave your body; it turns into a parasite. Doesn't that sound wonderful?
Right, and they think it feels great.
Right. This is very pleasurable to have this parasite, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I would have drank that, but Ed is diplomatic and drinks it anyway.
Right. Don't want to be rude. Right.
He tries to have some downtime. He's trying to have some downtime and have fun. So he asks about some Mocklin games, and they play a game called Latchcomb.
AKA hot potato.
Yes, exactly. It's like hot potato, but with blades.
Right. That's what happens is they're basically tossing it to each other, and Ed says, "So what? We just sit there." Ed catches it, and
Yeah,
while
and
he's holding it, he's like, "So what? We're just supposed to sit there and toss this to each other?" And then that's when the knife hits them because you're
yeah.
not supposed to hold it.
Well, actually, it turns out this was winning the game.
Right. It was
Um,
actually winning. Right. So I guess it's like a Russian roulette.
yeah, it actually kind of reminds me though of a Klingon episode I saw, where they're playing arm wrestling and the loser gets stabbed. Just like there's just like a knife there for the loser to get impaled on. So eventually, he ends up okay. Oh, right, and they get excited and say, "Latchcomb!"
Right.
Winning law, very Klingon. Yes, yeah. Mocklins are not so very subtle hints toward Klingon culture for sure. And Shay says, "How dare they? Toxic femininity and masculine moment, partially exposed female breast and male pectoral muscles, fully exposed."
Shame, shame.
I I thought it was very tastefully done. Um, Son of a Red Shirt says, "So sorry, guys, but I gotta run. It's been a great episode. Take care of Pop, take care, Jill, and take care of everyone in the chat. I hope to see you all soon."
You too, son of a Richard. Take care. Hopefully, see you soon.
So, so Ed admits that he misses Kelly, um, and he asks for a date with her. And this shot is just supposed to make you feel, oh wow, look at his big, empty, giant room, which has nothing in it.
Right. No pictures, no plants, no flowers.
No games, nothing. I don't know. Um. So, so he misses Kelly. So they agree to have a drink, and they talk about the Latchcomb game that we just saw, and stuff. They talk about stuff, and they drink. They drink way too much, and so the next morning they have a hangover. So I guess in the 25th century in the Orville, they have not found a cure for hangovers.
Right, and we have another plot contrivance coming up. Fortunately,
Mhm. Yeah, Alara is bright-eyed and odd at the star that they just discovered, but Ed and Kelly are so they're so hungover that they ask to get the get the star dimmed.
Right, if they could dim the viewer.
Yeah, so it's this bright, and then they dim it there. Bortus detects a distortion in open space away from the star, and it's a spatial anomaly that they need to explore. Interesting that though, Lieutenant Commander Lamar is now chief engineer, but he can still be called to the helm of the ship in the absence of Gordon, which I think is strange.
Yes, it is.
It's a little bit weird. His place should be engineering with the engine core, but okay.
Well, and, once again, they would have had a replacement before they took him out of his position. But
Right. They would have a replacement for Gordon if he's being sent on an away mission. They would have another pilot.
Yes.
So we should be getting a pilot of the week here or something, but
right until we get our check off.
Right. Exactly. We need another navigational navigational chief or to sit there, because Lamar can't do that anymore. He's engineer. Anyway, you're right. We need a Chekhov. Where's Chekhov? Anyway, we have Kelly leading the away mission for another anomaly. I feel like this. I've said anomaly a lot today.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's a plot contrivance. We've got 2 episodes in a row where they happen to stumble across an anomaly.
Well, see, the anomaly in the last episode was integral to the episode, and it was beautiful and wonderful. But this one is just for the plot.
Right, but it's like whoever runs the show walks into the writer's room and they're like, "Well, we don't know what to say. I don't know what to write." He says, "Okay,
what's the anomaly this week?"
Right, the ship comes. Right, the ship comes across an anomaly. There, now go with it. What does that anomaly do? Right.
Anyway, they go from being in space to suddenly appearing in the atmosphere, as if a planet just appeared out of nowhere. And so this episode is kind of an amalgamation of 3 different Star Trek episodes, where in one episode they have a planet that phases in and phases out, and another episode where they have the planet shifting from time more quickly than the outside than we experience time. And then another episode, Who Watches the Watchers, where Picard is seen as a god. So all 3 of those Star Trek episodes are just smashed together for this one.
And once again, this episode was directed by Brandon Braga.
So no wonder why.
Right, no coincidence there.
Anyway, we have Kelly lead this away mission. Let's see. Oh, and they're about to crash. They're going to crash because they've suddenly gone from being in space to being in atmosphere. So of course that causes damage to the shuttle. And the Orville, in the meantime, is scanning the planet. And they finally, I guess they don't crash. You feel like they're going to crash, but they actually do a very nice landing. So good job on there for Gordon. Gordon does great there. And so here's more of a action-based scene where they're just exploring the planet with their comm scanners. I didn't say tricorder this time. Comm scanners.
There you go, getting better.
Yes, getting better.
Now I have to point out, if I can point out something. I was at Vasquez Rocks. I've been there before. I was there a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
And if you're standing in the center of the park and looking the opposite direction of the mountain we all know and see, this is what it looks like. Highway 14 down below. I think this was shot there in Vasquez Rocks.
Oh, wow. Great point. Thank you.
But with that water, whatever that is, that would be a freeway with cars on it. And that's what it looks like there.
I missed RM Briggs leaving. So if you're still listening, I have to scoot as well. Thank you for the chat, Jill and PC XO.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, come back next week.
Raquel. It was so cool to see you here.
Absolutely. Come back next week. But yeah, I think this episode may have been filmed at Vasquez Rocks. I just wanted to throw that in.
And hello in the chat too. Oh yes, I love that point. I love to hear anything production value that you know about. Let me know, because I love that, and any nitpicks you have, I love those too.
Thank you. Hello, Gap Stargate. Good to see you all.
Yeah, great to see you. And everyone just saying hello. And Captain Marty Spock is here in the chat. This chat is brought to you by insomnia. Oh dear, you haven't gotten any sleep last night. I'm so sorry to hear that. So hello to Gap Stargate. And hello in the chat to the Nerdporial Life Forum.
Hello, Nerdporial.
Oh no, it's the Kelly. Yes, it's the Kelly episode. The word of Kelly. The word of Kelly is nigh upon us. Hi, R.M. Briggs. Love your Saturday show with Clobby. Yes, me too. Saturday night Star Trek every week at 9 p.m. Central Time with Clobbering Times channel. And since you mentioned it, I'll go ahead and anyone who wants to share their channel is welcome to do so if they're in the panel or, you know. And so I'll just share that. Yeah, everybody sub to Clobbering Times. He's finally got a short link. I'm so proud of him for getting that done finally. The longest time he didn't have one. So I'm glad to see that. And yeah, he's got lots of other cool stuff too. He talks about Star Trek and sci-fi and comics.
Very cool.
In a very wonderful way. And back to the episode. Where are we? That's always my problem. Like I'm like, where are we? Oh, but I guess it's really simple. This is actually a really simple episode compared to the last one where we had a lot of heavy, hard science fiction. This one's more of a anthropological study.
True, yes.
And Kelly explores and discovers humanoid life forms who are currently in the Bronze Age. And Isaac warns her of contaminating the culture. She discovers, I guess she here's some more action where she sees the children and they see her, they freak out, they run away, one falls, but at this point when Kelly saw that the little girl was okay, she should have just let her go, but she feels like she has to help heal the little girl.
Right. She immediately
Mhm.
she immediately stepped right into it when she should have just left.
Yeah, she should have just left. I don't understand it.
I'll
And of
be right
course,
back.
okay, that's fine. I'll just continue on. So she heals the little girl, and of course the villagers witness it. So many villagers, of course, watch it because, if anything's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. Maxwell's equation, right? Well, whichever one that is. Maybe it's not Maxwell. And here people are saying hello. Captain Mark Spock says, I'm no longer promoting my channel, but thanks anyway. Okay, you're welcome. And, well, we can talk about that later. Let's see. And Ed is acting like the kid. Ed is acting a lot like Kelly, like that scrape was going to kill the kid. I mean, I guess it could in terms of getting an infection or something. But if the Bronze Age is anything like ours, we already had alcohol, so I don't know if they had figured out to use that alcohol as a disinfectant yet. But I actually don't agree with Kelly's actions either way. But Ed does support her in this, so I'm just gonna catch up with the slideshows that explain all that. And we have a shot of the Orville orbiting the planet.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. So I had just gone through Kelly healing the little girl and getting caught by all the villagers. And Ed backs her up and fails to report this infraction to the admiral, which feels to me like a conflict of interest based on which is why they shouldn't be considering dating as far as I'm concerned. Either of them at this point could take responsibility, but they do not. Kelly apparently broke the union's version of the Prime Directive, which is becoming more apparent that they have something like that in their books, but we just haven't seen it yet.
Right, they're dancing around that exact topic, but that's
Mhm.
pretty much what they bring up here. And
We just haven't
I
called it
also
anything.
right, and I also this is one thing that I didn't like about some of the like the Next Generation and Voyager and Enterprise. I don't believe the crew should be allowed to fraternize because that could jeopardize the mission. So when they start showing when they got too much into the characters having interrelationships, it just
Mhm,
didn't make sense,
mhm,
and
mhm.
it's something in real life would not happen. But they only did it for plot.
Yeah, especially the captain and the first officer, but it's Seth's show. He wants a romance. He's gonna get it.
Yeah, but it's just in real life it wouldn't be like that because it seriously
Right.
jeopardizes your mission. All it takes to be in a serious mission, and these two people are having some kind of in a marital spat or argument, and it could everyone's life can be at stake.
Yes,
So it
exactly, and that's
right, it makes no
exactly.
sense.
It's also paralleled in Stargate, where there's that kind of tension of attractiveness uh between Colonel O'Neill and Samantha Carter, and she starts off as captain and comes major, but they never actually get together because of their position in command and having to be professional. So
That's the way it
they
should be.
that's the way it should be. and
Oh,
and
here's right. There's the
the
old
only time
adage.
yeah
Go ahead.
the only time they ever actually kiss is like in some kind of alternate dimension where she's a civilian and they're married or something. But go ahead.
Well, there's an old adage that goes back to World War I when they would tell the soldiers pretty much that if you're in a foxhole with another person,
Hmm.
you want that person's mind only on on that other person. You have it's only you and them, and you have each other's backs, and you want their mind on only one thing and
Hmm.
not other things. You don't want them torn between emotions for other things. So that's why fraternization makes no sense. This isn't the Love Boat.
Right. It's very distracting.
It's distracting and it makes no. It's just like, well, we've got to have a subplot soap opera because of the Fifi
Mhm.
audience out there. This is the reason why I didn't watch Enterprise. The very first episode, halfway through, it shows two characters showering together, and I
Mhm.
never tuned back in. I tuned out and never back in again.
Yeah. There's some good stuff in Enterprise, but then there's some not good stuff involving decontamination booths.
It's not necessary. It's just to
Right.
titillate the
Es-
audience, and that's
Especially
not
with
Star
the
Trek.
with Vulcans. It's not Vulcan. But anyway, I don't want to
Right,
get into a rant
right. That's something else,
about
right?
it because I really do love Enterprise. There's some great stuff and then there's some not great stuff. That's all I'll say for now.
Okay, right. Back to Orville. Okay.
Yeah, but it is that is a very good parallel to this. So luckily for Ed, he only gets a reprimand, and um yeah. So like I said before, this episode parallels Who Watches the Watchers, in which case the healing of the little girl causes deification of Kelly. And back on the bridge, the scans still don't reveal anything about the planet, and it goes out of phase again. Isaac says, I oh well, let me say what Isaac says first, and we'll get back to the chat. Isaac says that the planet is in a multiphasic orbit, where it stays for a portion of time in one universe and then in another. And in order for this to work, the star has to exist in both of these universes. So there's a star in this universe and then an identical star in the other universe, or the star exists in both universes at the same time, which I feel more far-fetched. I think it makes more sense that both universes just happen to have the same star.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Excellent job at explaining it, though. Excellent job at explaining it.
Well, Isaac did an excellent job explaining it. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. Lamar says, based on the mass and the star, mass of the star and the geometry of orbit, it's going to take 11 days for the phase to come back around. So there's some physics we don't understand there. And so there they are, just distracted, like we said earlier, and they have their date. Okay. Since I'm not interested in the date, let's see what happened in the chat here. So, hey Nerdporo, congratulations on 1,000 subs. Yes, congratulations on getting monetized, Nerdporo Lifeform. I think that's what you said, you got monetized. Or at least you have 1,000
Incredible.
subs. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
very nice. Very nice. Congrats.
And you have your 4,000 hours, which is just incredible. That's just awesome. Awesome. Way to go. And so here they have their date. So long story short, they're separate. His dinner fails, so he gives her a peanut butter sandwich, and he makes himself a jelly sandwich. And you can just use your imagination on how they combine to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Anyway, look at that Orville against the sun. That's nice. And the planet comes back. So it's been 11 days for the Orville, but the planet has way more people in development than before. And they find a village that looks like Earth's 14th century. When the planet is phased, the time also accelerates for them. So 700 years has passed. So now we see a much more developed village that looks much more modern than what we saw before. So 700 years passed for them, only 11 for the Orville. And then instead of waiting just a couple of minutes for some replicated clothes to be I guess they can't teleport, so I guess that's their excuse. But actually no. There's a replicator on board the shuttlecraft, so they should have been able to use the shuttlecraft to replicate some clothes.
That's true.
So, but instead they decide to steal some instead, and of course they're seen, and the lady here sees Kelly, and she runs out with her baby, asking for the baby to be blessed. And Kelly obliges.
Kelly obliges, but she doesn't understand why.
She has no idea. She's totally confused. She's just like, I hope your kid's all right.
Right. And I have to bring up this. I had to laugh when I watched this. I thought, okay, you have this lonely, very poor woman living in a one-room shack with a child. It's a good thing she happened to keep a whole wardrobe of crew. Look at what these people are wearing. She had that hanging on her clothesline.
That's her entire wardrobe. They just stole all her clothes.
Right, her entire year's clothing. And by the way, she's the strangest dressing person in town. and everything's odd fitting.
Right. Everything fits her crew just perfectly.
Right,
nice.
But that's another thing.
Very well done there. No, I'm very happy you brought that up. That is very hilarious. And so they continue on, and they see these bodies strung up. So, they're horrified, and they want to know what's happening. And a passersby comes by and says they didn't see the light and denied the word of Kelly. So here they finally realize that Kelly's become a religion, and people are being killed in her name. So, of course, this planet's development is sped up so you can see more clearly how the contamination of the Kelly religion spreads throughout the generations. And I suppose that is an interesting study on how religion could be corrupted. More examples of this punishment for non-believers are being shown, which parallels what's happened in reality in medieval times, especially concerning witch burnings and stuff like that.
Yes. And this is what you harkens back to what you brought up earlier, where it's similar to Who Watches the Watchers. Didn't they think Picard was a god?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a combination of a TNG episode, a Voyager episode, and also a Deep Space Nine episode. So
With,
it's got everything.
with the director in common, at least, right? Possibly writers.
Right. Yeah. It is shown in a new and interesting way. So at least there's that. Kelly's distraught at what's happening in her name, and she wants to stop it naturally, but she has to watch as these men are being murdered. And if Kelly doesn't come to heal them, but she's not. She's forbidden from Captain Mercer from doing that. And they discovered the statue. Oh, I said earlier that Ed earned a reprimand, but not yet. That hadn't happened yet because he hadn't fessed up yet.
Right.
So that was my mistake.
And fantastic how they got a photorealistic statue built out of memory. Yeah, very good. Huh?
That little girl had to be like an artist or something, and she
Right,
drew it
like
right after.
right, with a photographic memory.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so after witnessing the statue in horror, they finally fess up to the Admiralty, and Ed takes his lucky break. He only gets a reprimand. Kelly gets no such punishment in a retrospect. So I guess he gets the full brunt of it. And they're ordered not to return to the planet until they've achieved space flight, until the planet's achieved space flight. So of course they don't listen. So of course, Oh, and out of I gotta switch my slides here.
Okay, go for it.
Oh crap. So share this
I
tab
find this
instead.
right. I find this episode hilarious because it starts out with them telling us we can't interfere with the primitive species, and then it really goes overboard. It's like, well, that's the last thing. In fact, kind of reminds me of the most recent episode of Picard, from what I've been hearing, where they start with saying we should interfere, then next thing you know, they're doing car chases throughout the city.
Oh
And
my
everything.
god. Yeah. I guess that's a little bit similar. But this is a little bit more fun than that.
Oh, I would say yes, miles.
I don't know.
Ahead.
I haven't seen past episode 3 of Picard, or Star Trek Patrick Stewart, rather,
I don't.
that I
I
like to
don't.
call it.
I don't need to. I want to. I do. I listen to Bird's review. That's
Yeah.
enjoyable. Unlike watching the episode, Bird's review is actually enjoyable.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So um so of course they decide to go back to the planet, and they want to make it back before the planet phases, and they have 30 minutes to convince this world that Kelly is not God. So she hears what the people have written in their sacred text and tries to correct them, to teach them that she used an ordinary tool. And it goes back to the famous Arthur C. Clarke quote: any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So she shows him. She cuts herself with the device and uses it on her, and he's baffled that she can bleed, which is good. But then when she uses the dermal regenerator, he thinks it's a miracle. So now she has to show him that he could do it too. And that has the desired effect. Even when he states that she must be immortal to live 700 years, she corrects him that time moves differently for her. And that's all they could do because the planet's about to shift again. And the priest wants to tell the people the truth, but others in power are not so ready to give up their position. So they kill him, and so Kelly is still seen as a god for another 700 years.
Yeah, and can I bring up something really quick? Here's what I thought was
Of
interesting is
course.
Kelly. Okay, this guy is their version of the Pope, and
Hmm.
Kelly, what she did to prove to him that she was mortal was she cut her hand with a knife and said, "Look," and then she showed him that the scanner she had the little medical device healed the wound,
Hmm.
and then she said, "Here, you try," and she handed him the knife. I think in reality he would have stabbed her.
Oh, you think so?
Yep,
Mm.
I think that he would have thought in his primitive mind is that I saw her cut her hand, but I don't know if it's true. Maybe she's just putting on a show. And in his primitive mind, he's going to stab her to see if she can die. So
This
I
is
don't.
medieval times, so I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I think that she was standing too close to him when she did it, or it was an awkward scene. But
Hmm.
sorry, it's off on a tangent. But I wouldn't have done that. I would not have handed him the knife like that, standing that close to him, because you don't know how his primitive mind could have handled it or accepted it, right?
Um,
Oh well.
Speaking of primitive minds, yeah, exactly. So this guy who wants to stay in power kills him so that he doesn't talk, so that
Yes.
they can continue to misuse the religion. Uh, s- so so in the meantime, the planet is about to shift again. It shifts again. Okay, so far, the planet has now gone through 1400 years, while the ship has gone through 22 days at this point. So it it's phased and it's shifted already. So we just immediately do that here. This
Right.
time,
So now we're another 400 years from when he met their pope.
700.
700. Sorry. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, 1400 years total. And this time we see that the planet has evolved electricity, computers, and satellites. And they find that Kelly is still found hundreds of thousands of times in their broadcast media, including evangelical church broadcasts, news, and reports of war.
Right. They're
And
mirroring today for us. This is our modern day, right?
right, yes, they are. Seeing this, Kelly is prepared to stay on the planet. This time, she wants to convince them, but Ed says that she can't do that. Isaac offers to go instead, since his body could go on for millions of years. So, in the end of the episode, the planet goes through 2100 years, and the ship has gone through 33 days. So,
Yes.
in this case, they're still making that decision. Another largely action based episode. So, go out there and watch the Orville because I'm not describing little things that happen. And so, Isaac is on the planet. He's there. They phase out. It phases back in.
Well, I don't know if you
So,
explained, but what happened was okay.
okay, go
Is
ahead.
they knew they had to fix the problem because the civilization was heavily influenced by Kelly, but they didn't have enough time to explain that or correct the problem before it phased out, and plus that priest was killed. So what they
Right.
decided was that Isaac would go back with the planet because he is designed to live for centuries or to exist for centuries. And he's volunteering to stay on the planet while they phase out. So to them, he's going to spend 700 years on the planet. And for the Orville, it'll be 11 days.
Thank you, Pop Culture
Sorry,
Curator.
trying to get through that
No,
quick.
don't say sorry. No, no, that was perfect.
So that's
That
why,
filled in the
right?
blank
That's
that I
what,
had on my notes.
yeah, that's why we have Isaac standing there alone.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Correct. Only Isaac's going to stay for 700 years. And Shay says, forgot if in the Orville they have anything similar to the Prime Directive. And it appears that they do, though they're not very definitive about it.
Right. I don't know if they've actually coined a term for theirs yet, but yeah, it's pretty much
No,
talking about it.
they haven't. They talk about it. It's a rule. It's even something you can go to prison for, but they don't
I
they
could tell
don't
by
go
looking at this
further.
shot that they filmed it in the morning.
Mm. And you can see you way back there. No, whatever. So when the planet shifts and goes through one more phase here, it's been 2,100 years, 2,100 years, and the ship itself has only gone through 33 days. And so we see the planet has started creating spacecraft too. And further, they have teleportation, and they wear outfits as bright as their sun.
And if I may, I want to point out those outfits. I believe that maybe I could be wrong because it's been so many years, but that may be the same material they used for Jor-El's costume on the Superman movie from 1978. Richard Donner said that it was a special material that was designed to reflect light, and that's why if you watch that movie, it almost looks like it glows. Now it's either
It
that or
does.
it's an effect, but I don't think it's an effect. But I'm not sure. I'm going
Wow.
to check into that though because
Yeah, please do. That sounds
yeah,
really
right.
fascinating.
Because if you watch the Superman movie with Marlon Brando, he's in a suit that looks just like that. But it was,
Hmm.
and it looks, even then, it looked like, was that, you're thinking, is that an effect? Is that an effect? But it's designed to reflect all light. But her headband, like the little tiara thing or whatever she's on top of her head, that's obviously glowing. But I'm talking
Yes.
about the fabric and the clothing and the
Yes.
shoes.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Wow. I really love that little addition there. I would never have considered that. Very
It's just to
cool.
me, I'm into special effects. So the first thing I look at is that an effect? Is that practical?
Speaking of which, I like this effect. I like it.
Absolutely.
Kind of neat. I'd like to know a little more about it. I guess these are like space elevators, which is something that we've been looking into, but we don't have any luck in figuring it out.
Not so far, right? But they're saying
But
that
they've got
eventually,
tons of them.
right, it'll be cheaper to get things up to the space and back if they have them.
Hmm. And then Isaac talks about the great time he had observing a society going from the information age to quantum drive travel, and that he didn't have to do anything. Like he was there, but he didn't really actually have to have been there.
Well, he stipulates that he did not affect the growth of their civilization, and also he does mention that they correct um, the mistake Kelly made with the timeline, and he was able to convince them that she's not a god,
Oh. Um,
which is where that's where they're explaining this. They're saying, no, we our civilization grew without his influence. He was there, but he did influence them, which is nice that they brought this up.
yeah, because on the surface of this episode, you think it's a warning against the dangers of interfering with the natural development of a society, and that is true. But the aliens here point out the truth of the matter is that any religion can be corrupted. Um, despite the parallels, uh, it's an indictment against the corruption of organized religion that
Yes,
could distort the true message of a faith.
yes. Well, that's what
When
when the guy stabbed the priest in the back. That's yeah, they were
right,
pretty much telling that to
right,
us. Yes,
that's that message that government uh, often often corrupts things for power, and that's exactly what happens here. And
right.
that's what's happened in our real life too, and that's what this world has gone through and overcame. And that they say that if it wasn't for Kelly, that it would have been someone else.
Right, and now, am I right in assuming their technology at this point matches the same as the Orville's?
It matches, probably even a little bit
A little
exceeds,
bit
because we
more,
see, yeah, just a little
yeah,
bit more, a
yeah,
little
because
bit
the
different.
teleporter.
Yeah, because of the teleporting.
Okay, that's
Um,
what I thought. So all they got
yeah,
to do is stick around for another 11 days, and they can see what these
I
people would be like.
know, right? No, but they're just like, we don't want to be studied, so we're gonna
Right,
leave.
right.
I mean, I wonder how long they're going to keep advancing until it just like reverts or something happens.
Well,
I don't know.
one thing's for certain. It's always open if they want to visit the planet again in the future episode.
Hmm. I guess they say that at the end, also Kelly comes to the conclusion that I finally hoped for this episode. that they shouldn't be dating. Duh.
Right. And all of us, it's a general sigh of relief altogether now. Right.
Right. Of course, they shouldn't compromise their command decisions. They even point that out.
Bogs down the episode, which they don't bring
Yeah.
out, but
Right.
it's true.
That too.
Yes.
Exactly. But it made it easier for me to review the episode, though. Was able to get through it much faster than the other one.
Yeah, and they had to resolve it because it was
Hmm.
been basically
It's
lingering
true.
since
It's true.
episode one.
It's true. That's a good point. They did have to mention it, so they did, and at least they got through it. So, what did you think of the episode, Pop Culture Curator?
I liked it even better than the first one. Actually, they're both good, but I like
Right.
this one because the idea of the him going back 700 years and staying there with them on the planet. If this would have been a 2-hour episode, I would have liked to have seen more of that.
Yeah,
So I know we don't get to see much of that, but I thought that was a wonderful idea. I thought that was very
I
well
agree.
written. It's like I said earlier, it makes you think about it because
The
to them it
pieces
was
do
just
come
11
together
days.
pretty well.
Right. To them it was 11 days, but for Isaac it was 700 years, and that's fascinating.
Hmm.
He would have a lot to tell them, right?
Right. You think he could write books and reams of
Mm-hmm.
the society's development and its past and where it's going in its future. He, he's got it all.
Yep. And my first question would be, Isaac, how did they treat you? From the
Hmm.
beginning, what
Right.
happened,
Right.
Right. But, for another
Did they
day, perhaps.
cut him and try to string him up? He never died.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because the first thing they're going to do is he's going to scare the crap out of him, and they're probably going to go after him like Frankenstein,
Right.
the
Right.
villagers.
I mean, they were in the information age, so maybe they weren't going to crucify him, but they'd do something.
And he is able to defend himself, so without offending them, he can defend himself without scaring them.
Yeah. So, yeah. So,
But yeah,
yes,
once
I agree
again,
completely. That would have been really cool to see.
right? Like I said, once again, another episode that leaves you thinking and not regretting.
Hmm. So, I couldn't be more grateful for you joining me in this show because I know that you make it a lot more wonderful. So, we really need to help you get your subscribers back up. So,
Oh, it is my pleasure. Thank you.
you're
Believe me, it
welcome.
is an honor. I consider every time I'm on here to be an honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so I'm going to put your link here in the chat. I think someone put it in earlier. I think
Yeah,
Vertebrae Profile did.
Bert O'Bray. Thank you, Bert, if you're still there. I hope you're doing well, brother.
Yes, yes, I
And
hope
all
so
of you
too.
for joining us. Thank you so much
And
for everybody that's in the chat.
and this link will subscribe to Pop Culture Curator. Let me type
Thank
that.
you. I hope I get a short name one of these years, but I don't know what it takes.
It takes 100. It takes 100 subscribers.
Well, then maybe eventually I'll get there.
Yeah. I got there just recently.
Very cool. Congratulations.
Yes, thanks. Yeah. Pop Culture Curator is rebuilding his channel and is releasing some wonderful short videos about his trip to LA and all the super cool filming locations he's seen. So go check that out. And he's also re-uploading some of his live streams, which I'm sure he'll do some more new ones soon.
Absolutely. Yes, I will. Thank you once again, Jill. Like I said, it was a pleasure. I had a great time today. It was 2 really good episodes. I enjoyed talking about them.
Yeah, me too. And so I'm just going to go through the chat here and share out some channel links like I like to do at the end. And, oops.
Time to go pick up the kids.
Yeah. No, well, I got some time from when that goes off to when I can do that. And so Bird Pray 5 says to take care. Thank you so much, Bird Pray 5, for being here. And so we've got your channel link here.
Thank you. Yes, Sub to Birdo Pray 5. Wonderful channel.
Yeah, wonderful channel. He does Star Trek reviews and bed life and gaming, and he's super funny. And Cavitino, I'll never say your name right. Cavalryman Shay. Thank you so much for being here today. And Christian Fandom Geek, thank you too. And every single time, I should have your link, but I don't.
I need to get better at looking up people's links and then posting them in the chat.
Well, what I really need
will
to
do that in the
is
future.
I just need to program into stream element spot and have that just cycle through everybody.
Oh, that's true. That's a good idea.
Like I don't know if you can like detect who's in the chat and do it that way. I don't know. I always want more than I can get. So Christian Fandom Geek's link is right here. And then after I finish posting these links, I also have a video that I'm going to show.
Oh, very cool.
So subscribe to Christian Fandom Geek for Christian Fandom Geek stuff. Let's see, it looks like he does some Star Wars stuff and stuff. And thank you, Gap Stargate. And I know you also have a channel too. Thank you so much for being here, Gap Stargate. No, I'm going to get this right one of these days. And thank you to Captain Marty Spock, who says he's no longer promoting this channel, so I'll respect that. And the Nerd Portal Lifeform, congratulations on your 1,000 subscribers. That's so cool. And you're gonna have a celebration for that on Thursday, I think.
Very nice.
So that's gonna be fun. Everybody's gonna want to go check that out. And so I'll share that link too. But I gotta add it to my list here. Oh, I feel like I'm missing so many people.
Well, next week I'm going to start helping you. I'll start posting links while the stream is going on, while you're talking about the episodes.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. And then I can just go back over them at the end too.
Yeah, I feel bad because cool. You've got your hands full as it is, so I need to do more. So I'll step up, and next week I'll help more. I promise.
I appreciate that. And Sandra Feliciano, I don't know if you're still in the chat here, but I'm going to go ahead and make you a moderator. I've been meaning to do that. So, Rinchinya. Hope that's okay. And thanks so much to Arm Briggs for being here. It was so cool to see Raquel. And for Raquel, we want to promote her books. Here, let's do her promo here directly from her channel, because I don't have it in my stream yards. So let's share this. Is it sharing? Yeah. Oh wait, but it's not sharing the. It's not sharing the. Let me share screen, but I also have to share the audio. So I'm going to share that, and here we go. Can you hear it?
Yeah, we hear it.
Okay, so that's her promo. for
Very
her
nice.
short stories. She makes short stories that are a lot like the Twilight Zone.
Very
And
nice. It looks very good.
yeah,
Looks interesting. I need to check that out.
yeah, absolutely. They're on Amazon, and I think she has links to them. I'll just put the link to one of them. There's more.
Thank
I
you.
should have had the. Oh, actually, let's go here, and then we've got the links to all of them. Arm
Okay.
Briggs books and Briggs stories, sci-fi stories. I'm gonna save that for later. And Shay says it's an honor to be here. Well, it's an honor having you. And there's a link. I gotta make a nicer link than that, but for now that'll work. Yeah, and had so many wonderful people in the chat today. Also had Son of a Red Shirt. Thank you so much for being here. And I know I had other people earlier. King Dolphin TV, when we had your channel link right here, so I don't have to repost that one. And yeah, arm breaks is just too cool to have. And my kitty cat is trying to roll over on top of my laptop. No, kitty cat, not right now. And thank you to Sir Jacob for being here and for sharing out my stream. That was so cool of you. I think I've still got you right here so I can share yours too. And thank you guys for everybody being here. And next week we're going to start season 2 next week. So
Absolutely.
that'll
It's
be
going to be
fun.
great.
And I know I've got Deej's. Oh yeah, Deej's link right here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this better. All right, and I think that covers everybody. And Che is thinking of getting the DVDs of season 1 and 2 to see the deleted scenes. That's a really cool. There are some deleted scenes. I think there was some deleted scenes in Mad Idolatry. There was like a puppet show or something that we missed out on.
Oh,
And
if
I
you
was
do, let us
thinking of,
know.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking of finding that, but I didn't end up finding that.
If you do get it and buy them, please share some of the information with us if you can.
Okay. And I'll do that. Oh, I meant to. Oh, there was a video I wanted to show of why Seth MacFarlane is so great at making the Orville. Because it's in his past here, and I just love this video. This is just gonna take us out. So.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Enjoy the video. Thank you, Jill, for having me here.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And hold on, let me share this particular tab. Since I didn't include the video like I meant to. So, but remember, what's even better than my reviews is to go and watch the Orville yourself. We're getting ready for season 3, and next week we're going to start season 2 with episodes 1 and 2, Jaloja and Primal Urges. So have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Status report. No significant damage to the Enterprise capsule.
Sir, I lost all contact with structural command.
Swap. Shift the navigational computer. What is our first position? Unit will not respond yet. Sensors? Also failure. Malfunction. None that I can detect. All power levels has been lowered. Then why am I looking at a view screen with nothing on it? You can think of only one possible explanation. And that is? Your first design. We got here. I think doorway to nowhere. Description may have been more accurate. What exactly are you saying? I'm saying that if my hypothesis is correct, we have somehow been transferred outside of the picture. That's impossible. Apparently not. Free to go. 10 minutes. Uhura, tell McCoy